Hi, friends. And this episode of The Grieving Nurse, we are going to talk about how relationships change when a family member or loved one has passed away. So, welcome back. Please like, subscribe, follow this podcast so you can share with others if this podcast has helped you in any way. And so, this episode, we are going to talk about how relationships shift and change after a loved one has died. So, for me personally, both my parents died a little over 4 months apart. So, my dad passed away at the end of July in 2019. My mom died the beginning of December of 2019. And so, to have such major loss in such a short amount of time, of course, things shifted in our family. And so, there's three of us, I have a brother and a sister, and I'm the middle child. And so, when my parents died, it was interesting looking back how our relationships shifted a little bit. And so in the beginning, we got along really well. And so this is what I shouldn't say always seen, but a lot of times what I see are families come together, they realize life is short, they maybe are kinder to each other, and then life goes on. And as life goes on, all of a sudden, it's like, wait a second, like, why is this one pushing me away? Nobody invites me anymore. Nobody wants me to come over. Nobody's checking in on me. And so, first and foremost, I just want to validate how, again, life altering that feels. When you have lost somebody and your world feels like it shifts, and then all of a sudden, you have relationships shifting as well. It already feels like you're on quicksand, and then it feels like you're sinking. And so I just want to validate that is real. And then the next thing I want to talk about or kind of lead you into with that is that we can decide how we want to show up in any relationship. I'm going to say that again. We can decide how we want to show up in any relationship. And so maybe that means that you used to get along really well with your aunts and uncles, and all of a sudden, since your parents died, things are not good, right? Like a lot of times what I've seen is the people that come to me for coaching are because the person that passed away was kind of the glue holding the family together. And then this person is the people pleaser, the person who wants to fix this, right? And sometimes you can't fix it, and that is extremely painful. And I would even venture to say that a lot of times you can't fix it, no matter even how you're showing up, because we can't control other people, right? Again, it sucks. It really, really sucks. It's really unfortunate, but we can't force anybody to show up in a certain way that we want. And so we can't control other people. What we can do is we can set boundaries around those relationships. We can decide and determine how we want this relationship to be moving forward. So for me, I have always been fairly close to my siblings. We, I would say we were really close growing up, okay? We were really close. We did a lot of things together. We got along fairly well as siblings do. After my parents died, we got along really well. And then there was a time when we were going through the estate and cleaning out their house where like things didn't feel like they were going as well. And now I would say I'm maybe closer to my sister than I was in previous years, and probably a little bit farther away from my brother emotionally than I was in previous years. And part of that has been different circumstances and different things that have come up. And I have also come to realize that nothing is permanent. And so I know that it can kind of sound very obvious after somebody's died, like, yeah, nothing's permanent, people die. But like our brain really makes it feel like the relationship that we have now that might not be what we want it to be, that might feel broken, that might feel detached, that's going to be how it always is. And I just want you to offer you that that's not true, right? That doesn't have to be true. It can be true if that's what you choose and you choose to not foster that relationship and not keep growing with it. Or it cannot be true where you are like, you know what? No, like I really want to put in work. I'm going to keep reaching out even if they're never going to call me. I'm going to be the person to instigate the phone calls. I know that I want this relationship in my life and I'm willing to do those things. And that is kind of the final piece that I want to leave you with is make sure that you're choosing it because it's really what you want to do. Not because it's what you should do, not because you feel like, well, this is what my mom would want, not because of that, but really look at your life, look at your pieces of where you're at. And so, again, I'll go back to the example like for my brother and I, he has 4 children, I have 6 children. We're just in the phase of life where we are really busy with our kids. They're in a lot of activities. I won't even say a lot of activities compared to most people. They're in activities, right? Like I'm an entrepreneur, he's an entrepreneur, like his wife works, my husband works. Like it's just there's a lot of schedules to try to juggle to make time for each other. That doesn't mean we don't text each other. That doesn't mean we don't make time for the kids' birthdays. We still get together on those most of the time. We still get together on some holidays, mostly Christmas, we get together. And so that is okay for where I'm at and where he's at in this stage of life. And I'm okay with that. That's what I'm choosing. I also could choose to call him more often, to text him more often, to be like, hey, what are you doing? Can I come over? Like, and I just am not there in my life right now because the time that I do have, I choose to spend with my children and my husband. And again, it's because I'm choosing that. And so that is what I want to invite you guys to be reassured that you can choose that. And just because you choose that now doesn't mean that that's what you're choosing forever. It just means right now. And if you do want to foster those relationships, and it's a lot of times people don't reciprocate the way we feel that they should, and we have a lot of emotions and feelings that come up on that. And that's okay as well. But then just ask yourself again, do I want to keep showing up? Do I want this relationship in my life? And if I do, what am I willing to do to grow it and to foster it? So I hope that was helpful. I would love to talk more with you guys one-on-one. You can book a free consult call with me at nursegriefcoaching.com and come and chat and we can talk of all the feelings, all the emotions that come up with all of this because I know, especially when the person that felt like they were the glue holding your family together, when they're no longer there, it feels like everybody's just kind of waiting for somebody else to step up. And you might be that person who wants to, and nobody else wants to step up, and nobody wants to go to the events and show up. Or you might just be like, I really want somebody else to show up, and it feels horrible that nobody else is, so I feel guilty, right? Like that could kind of help happen too. So there's so many different things that go into the relationships, the moving parts, the pieces, and when you have somebody that's passed away, it really shifts and alters that. So again, it's normal. It doesn't mean that it's easy, and I'll help you through that. So nursegriefcoaching.com, and I am praying for you guys, and I hope that you have the very best possible day that you can.